There are actors whose names appear above the title, and then there are actors whose faces become part of cinematic history, even if their names don't. You've seen him sitting at the card table in Goodfellas. You've seen him inside the world of The Godfather. You've seen that unmistakable curly hair, that observant stare, that quiet intensity. But who is he? This is the story of Frank Sivero, born Francesco Lo Giudice, a Sicilian immigrant who became one of the most authentic faces in Mafia cinema. His career wasn't built on leading roles. It was built on realism, and realism lasts forever. Health Wealth Diary presents the real Frank Carbone from the movie Goodfellas, the Frank Sivero story. Frank Sivero was born on January 6, 1952, in Sicilian, Sicily. Sicilian is not a large, glamorous city. It is a traditional Sicilian town, quiet, historic, deeply rooted in Catholic faith and centuries-old customs. In Sicily, family is not simply important. It is everything. Reputation is inherited. Loyalty is sacred. Respect is earned early. Those themes would later echo in every major role Sivero played. At a young age, his family immigrated to the United States in search of opportunity, like so many Italian families in the post-war era. They settled in Brooklyn, New York, a borough that, in the 1950s and 1960s, was densely populated with Italian-American neighborhoods that preserved old-world traditions while adapting to American life. Brooklyn became his real education. On those streets, hierarchy mattered. The social clubs were informal institutions. The men on the corners had authority without uniforms. Conversations carried coded meanings. Humor masked tension. Silence meant power. Growing up in Brooklyn's Italian-American community meant being immersed in a cultural duality. At home, there was Sicily, language, food, values. Outside, there was America, ambition, competition, reinvention. Frank developed an instinctive understanding of body language. In neighborhoods where showing too much emotion could signal weakness, subtlety became survival. Watch his performances decades later and you'll notice something. He rarely overacts. He listens. He reacts. He absorbs the room. That's not training. That's lived experience. His family emphasized hard work and perseverance. Acting was not the obvious career path for a young Sicilian-American man in Brooklyn. But the pull of cinema, particularly crime dramas that reflected his surroundings, was powerful. By the early 1970s, he began pursuing acting seriously. Before landing his most iconic roles, Frank committed himself seriously to the craft. He studied acting under Lee Strasberg in New York City, immersing himself in the method technique that shaped generations of performers. Strasberg's approach demanded emotional truth, personal memory, and psychological depth, and Frank absorbed it. The discipline he learned in those classes would later show up on screen in the smallest details: a look, a pause, a shift in posture, the kind of nuance that separates background actors from true craftsmen. Frank's early career included small roles and background appearances. One of his earliest connections to cinema history came with a minor appearance in The Godfather, a film that would redefine crime storytelling. His role was so small that if you blinked, you already missed him. He appeared as an extra in the infamous scene where Sonny beats his brother-in-law Carlo half to death. Director Francis Ford Coppola took a liking to Frank, so much that he gave him a bigger part in the Godfather sequel. In The Godfather Part II, Frank played Genco Abbandando, the first consigliere of the Corleone family, an early friend to Vito Corleone. On set were legends like Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, and Robert De Niro. For a young actor from Brooklyn, this wasn't just a job. It was a masterclass in restraint. Francis Ford Coppola's films demanded subtlety. No caricatures, no exaggeration, just presence. 1974 marked a pivotal year in Frank's career. Riding the momentum from the success of The Godfather Part II, he capitalized on his rising visibility in Hollywood. That same year, he appeared in The Gambler, sharing the screen with his former Godfather co-star James Caan, further cementing his presence in crime-driven cinema. Expanding his range beyond the big screen, he also made a guest appearance on an episode of the hit television series Happy Days, demonstrating his versatility, not only as a serious actor, but also showing the world his comedic side. Thanks to his close friendship with Robert De Niro, Frank landed a role in the 1978 film New York, New York. The project not only kept him working alongside top-tier talent, but also marked his first collaboration with acclaimed director Martin Scorsese, a pivotal introduction that would later lead to the defining role of his career. Throughout the late 1970s and into the 1980s, Frank continued building his resume, taking on a range of supporting roles that kept him visible in both crime dramas and mainstream comedies. He appeared in Going Ape, followed by the gritty urban thriller Fear City, and later joined the cast of the 1986 blockbuster black comedy Ruthless People, demonstrating his ability to move between darker material and commercially driven studio projects. He wasn't a breakout star. He was a working character actor. That distinction matters. Character actors form the structural integrity of films. They create believable environments around leading men. They make worlds feel populated and lived in. Frank Sivero's look, the curly hair, sharp features, streetwise demeanor, made him an ideal presence in crime narratives. Casting directors understood that he didn't look like someone pretending to be tough. He looked like someone who had grown up around it. Then came 1990, Martin Scorsese came knocking again, and everything changed. In 1990, Martin Scorsese released Goodfellas, a film that would become one of the most celebrated mafia crime dramas ever made. Frank Sivero was cast as Frankie Carbone. He's not the center of the story. He doesn't narrate. He doesn't explode like Tommy DeVito, played by Joe Pesci. He doesn't command scenes like Jimmy Conway, played by old pal Robert De Niro, he observes. And that's precisely why he feels real. The character is loosely inspired by real-life Lucchese mob associate Angelo Sepe, who was murdered in the aftermath of the Lufthansa heist. In the film, once the robbery is pulled off, paranoia begins to consume the crew, and Jimmy Conway, who was based on Jimmy the Gent Burke, starts eliminating anyone he believes could become a liability. Carbone ultimately becomes one of those targets. Frankie Carbone is portrayed as one of Jimmy's most loyal crew members, who ignores orders not to spend the money from the Lufthansa heist. In one of the film's most chilling moments, his body is discovered frozen inside a meat truck. There's no farewell, no dramatic monologue, just the cold, brutal betrayal within the mob world. Frank's performance reinforces that realism. He plays Carbone as a loyal, dependable soldier, the kind of guy who believes that if he keeps his head down and stays loyal, he'll survive. But in organized crime, loyalty doesn't guarantee safety, and that's the tragedy. Angelo Sepe was not just a background soldier. He was deeply trusted within the crew of Jimmy Burke and was very close to Tommy DeSimone, the real-life inspiration for Tommy DeVito. Angelo had reportedly carried out murders on Burke's orders in the past and was considered reliable and loyal. According to multiple accounts, Angelo had allegedly robbed a Lucchese-connected drug trafficker of thousands of dollars in cocaine and cash that belonged to the crew. He was rumored to be heavily involved with cocaine at the time. Crossing someone in the drug trade, especially within a mafia family, was far more dangerous than buying a fur coat. Angelo Sepe and his girlfriend, Joanna Lombardo, were eventually killed by unknown members of a Lucchese hit squad. We'll be doing a separate deep dive on the Lufthansa heist and the real-life Frankie Carbone Angelo Sepe story, so hit the notifications bell and stay tuned for that video. Although gangster roles cemented his legacy in Hollywood, Frank Sivero proved he was far more than a mob movie fixture. By the late 1990s, he pivoted into comedy, showcasing timing and character work that differed sharply from the hardened personas that defined much of his earlier career. In 1998, he appeared in The Wedding Singer alongside Adam Sandler. The film became a commercial hit and a cult favorite, reintroducing Frank to a new generation of moviegoers who may not have associated him strictly with mafioso crime dramas. His appearance demonstrated that his screen presence could translate seamlessly into lighter, more comedic territory. The collaboration also marked the beginning of a lasting professional relationship with Adam Sandler. 2 years later, Frank reunited with him in Little Nicky, further reinforcing his ability to move comfortably between genres. While mafia roles remained central to his identity, these performances underscored a broader range, proof that Frank's career extended well beyond the shadows of organized crime cinema. In the 2000s, Frank's career slowed considerably, with only occasional roles keeping him in the public eye. One notable appearance during this period was his third collaboration with Martin Scorsese. In the 2004 biographical drama The Aviator, he played an uncredited photographer alongside Leonardo DiCaprio. In 2007, Shortcut to Happiness became Frank's last major theatrical film. The movie bombed at the box office, and after its release, he largely faded from showbiz, though he continued to take on smaller projects away from the spotlight. In October 2014, Frank Sivero filed a lawsuit against Fox Television Studios for $250 million. The lawsuit claimed that the character Louis from The Simpsons was based on his portrayal of Frankie Carbone in Goodfellas. Frank alleged that in 1989, he had been living next door to writers from the show, who were aware that he was developing the Carbone character. According to the lawsuit, the entire character of Frankie Carbone was created and developed by Sivero, who based this character on his own personality. Soon after, Louis appeared on the show, a second-in-command mafioso to Fat Tony, with similar mannerisms, voice, and appearance. Frank argued that this use of his likeness violated California's publicity rights law. The case was dismissed in August 2015. The judge ruled that Louis was a parody inspired by multiple mob characters, and not a direct copy of Sivero. Even though the lawsuit was unsuccessful, it underscored something remarkable. Frank's performance had become iconic enough to inspire debate about creativity, parody, and the influence of character actors. Frankie Carbone, a supporting role in a decades-old film, had left a mark deep enough that it transcended the screen, entering popular culture in unexpected ways. Frank has always kept his personal life out of the spotlight. Relationship details, children, and family remain private, a conscious choice in an era when many actors trade privacy for fame. His estimated net worth of around $2 million reflects decades of steady work in film, not flashy headlines or tabloid stories. But while Frank may avoid traditional celebrity culture, he didn't fully disappear.
Hello everyone, hey, guess it is, how you doing? It's me, Frank Sivero. Hey, from Goodfellas, that's Frankie Carbone.
In recent years, he has embraced new ways to connect with fans. On TikTok, he shares short, playful videos, often revisiting the characters and moments that made him famous. He also appears on podcasts, offering behind-the-scenes insights into his films and sharing his experiences working alongside some of Hollywood's greatest directors and actors. For Frank, life after Hollywood hasn't meant retreating. It's meant adapting, sharing his stories, and remaining relevant on his own terms. He continues to bridge the gap between classic cinema and a new generation of fans, proving that his influence, like his performances, endures. Frank Sivero's legacy is not built on awards or box office dominance. It is built on credibility. From Sicily to Brooklyn to the sets of two of the greatest crime films ever made, he carved out a permanent place in cinematic history. He represents the essential character actor, the man who doesn't need the spotlight, the man who makes the spotlight believable. In Mafia cinema, authenticity is everything, and Frank Sivero had it naturally. He didn't just act the part, he understood it. Frank Sivero will be remembered not just as a supporting actor, but as a legend, a symbol of authenticity and one of the most unforgettable faces in cinema history. Thank you for watching. Food for thought. Does Frank Sivero deserve more recognition for his role in Goodfellas? Or was Frankie Carbone always meant to stay in the shadows? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell for more awesome videos from The Health Wealth Diary.